Yo, it's your boy, Seafoam Soldier, right here in the house. What? And we got one of family faves.
Hey, it's me, it's Floppy Bob. And I swear, Grant, like those introductions are getting like weirder each time from you. So
Yeah.
I love it just like now, like, it's like, Tammy Brown's like, I'm acting. It was like, I felt you're getting closer and closer to Tammy. Yeah. It's not a bad thing at all.
Thanks for noticing. I appreciate it. That's the thing. I feel like my intros are a solid 10, but my outros are closer to a 1 to 2.
Okay. So we can find some kind of happy balance in between that, I think.
No. We've
got like an hour to get ready.
Starting strong, failing at the end. That's what I'm here for. So, hey guys, we've got new people as well. Hey T, thanks for joining again. Got a lesbian. What up, yo? Lesbian gamer, cool. What's going on, team? Everyone all right? Plus got Suta Kim, plus Kurt, got the whole crew. Nice one. Thanks for joining us.
Good little section of people here. Yeah. So hello.
Thanks, team. We need a name for you guys. What do you want to be called? Something that's really degrading. Oh, I like special little snowflakes still. I want to call you guys special little snowflakes. Something.
I love that process. Like, what can I call you? Something really degrading. Yeah, that's getting those subscribers.
Yeah, they need to know their place. You guys love it. Right. Okay. So, I watched the episode a couple of days ago. Honestly, don't even know what show it is. Don't remember anything at all. So I need you to guide me through it.
But we can just piece it together. We can just make up stuff that happened. Kind of like, when Katia had her RuPaul's and she just kind of made up stuff like that RuPaul turned into a reptile at some point. I feel like that's just what's going to happen. It's going to merge with like you having watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch recently.
It probably will, genuinely. Yeah. That's a little spoiler for you guys. There may be a special little Sabrina video coming up sometime in the near future, if you're lucky, if you behave yourselves. But yeah, should we try and tackle it? Should we try and
let's get on with it? Yeah.
So I did make notes. So let's see if these help, and you guys can interject with your thoughts as well. So first of all. Oh, okay. So I didn't really write much about. There's nothing to really write about the mini challenge I found.
Not particularly. It was a bit of a strange one in some ways, but yeah, it just kind of happened, and it's like, and it's gone. But it was fun. Again, I'm still like, I still feel after like season 9 of All Stars, I still feel like I can't slate a mini challenge ever because I'm just so grateful that we have them again. So every time there's a mini challenge, I'm like, so it was not a particularly memorable one, but it's really great that we have one. Please never take them away. They're amazing. But yeah, I mean, obviously as well, like we start with all of the kind of the thing about like everyone surprising the workroom that we've just like about who we've just lost and about this kind of New York, well, not necessarily New York, more Monet exchange kind of being in the bottom again, this kind of what is kind of happening here kind of moment. But she, I don't know, I think it's interesting to see how this is kind of, this leads straight into the episode, because with some of the other ones, you felt that there was a kind of carry on, like there was this kind of, the week before we had the whole Eureka Vixen drama kind of hanging on into this episode. And this one, there wasn't really anything that carried over. It was kind of like, okay, new day in the workroom.
But maybe it was sort of trying to carry something over, because I did try and talk about the Monet New York thing, but it wasn't really that interesting, to be fair.
I think that's why it kind of got quietly dropped on the side there. I think they felt that they had to acknowledge something there, and then they were like, nobody's really doing anything about it, so okay, cool.
Yeah, Monet, if you want to step your pussy up, go for it, but if you're not going to, fine. It's like that sort of vibe, right?
Right. Yeah.
So my first note I've written down, because obviously the challenge is about DragCon merch.
Oh yeah.
And so I think the queens who have been to DragCon before do have a big advantage over queens who haven't. I wrote down. I mean, we found out who was DragCon as the episode progressed, but I wrote down, I'm assuming Eureka went after season 9, and so she would have a big advantage. Also, the Vixen went to DragCon, had been to DragCon before as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. I would have imagined Aquaria would have been there, but you never know some of these.
I think you said she didn't know, did she?
I think you're right. I think she said she hadn't. Yeah, but it's it's a strange one because you're like, it's such a specific kind of challenge in some ways, but then again, at the heart of what it is, it's something so core to, I guess, the modern day post Drag Race experience, right? That it's kind of all about branding yourself, about interacting with fans, about kind of monetizing parts of who you are, I guess. So it's interesting to see. And so quite a good challenge, even if it does feel incredibly like deeply consumerist and capitalist at its heart. It makes sense given the post Drag Race careers of all of the queens.
Well, I was confused because I felt like if it was going to be similar to the All Stars 2 challenge, where they had to create a piece of merch for DragCon, that would have been. I mean, it was a good challenge anyway, but I was sort of confused as to what the challenge was meant to be. It seemed to end up as more of a comedy challenge, really.
Yeah, because I guess a large part of it was how you interact with people, and most, the successful groups took that as being comedic and did it well, and the less successful groups still tried to make it comedic and just didn't do quite as well.
Yeah.
So, I think you're right. I think it's a lot about the kind of natural charisma, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like the aim was to be funny, and the ones who were funny, did the best at the challenge.
Right. With the exception of Miss Cracker. But in terms of her general funniness, but I think it makes a lot of sense though, because that is the world that they are basically stepping into. It's completely, well, not completely, but a large part about interactions with fans and everyone. And I think a large part of it being, I think obviously the way it was set up was meant to also have us looking at the vixen and being like, oh, can she? Because, I feel like at quite a few key moments, they would just be like, someone's talking and they'd talk about being likable. Camera pans to the vixen. Like, it was just very, their tone was very pointed right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I suppose it was mainly about being charismatic. Although I suppose the queens who have done best in a setting like DragCon and panels generally, I'd say, are the queens who are the funniest. Like Alyssa's panel, Alyssa's Secret's always one of the biggest panels.
Yeah.
Katia with Trixie, all that sort of stuff. So I suppose it wasn't explicitly a comedy challenge, but I did feel like that was what was sort of hoped for from the queens. And again, all the critiques would back that up, like by the judges. It was like, you weren't funny, or you were funny, or that seemed to be the main focus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it just kind of made a lot of sense in that respect. I mean, I do wonder what we did and didn't see as well. If what kind of footage might have been left out. I got the impression that I don't know, I think a couple of the queens posted on Instagram like, oh no, they missed this thing. So I mean, I feel like there would have been a couple of things that were missed out, but I mean, overall, I think it was a fairly fair impression, perhaps, of what actually went down.
Yeah, it's always hard to say, but it seemed like it. Is it the chat's disagreeing though? The chat's saying it was a branding challenge, but I don't know. Like, I can see why. I don't know, but it just felt like far less of a branding challenge than, say, like the All Stars 2 fish tank challenge or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think the one in All Stars 2 was directly about branding exactly who you are, whereas I feel like this is kind of branding yourself with it. I mean, it's still branding, but it's less directly you. Yeah. It wasn't like all three queens in each group vying to kind of say their catchphrases first, apart from obviously the whole whatever the one that Eureka's team had.
Come on, after all of that, you can't forget it.
I feel like I repressed that memory somewhat and kind of hoped it died. But yeah, like, I mean, I think actually that's why they were incredibly successful in the challenge, was that they were incredibly branded with a challenge. They kind of met that challenge head on. They were meant to be charming, they were meant to be memorable, and the best way they found to do that was to have some kind of catchphrase that they repeated fuck knows how many times. With that, like, so I mean, it's so cheesy, and I kind of love it and hate it at the same time, which is that because we are talking about what, there's that whole kind of like, you're in primary school or like nursery, and someone's kind of just like, and what did he say to the giant? It's kind of a bit like, but
it was, that's a good comparison.
But like, I kind of loved it. It was so cheesy, and they knew it, and it was so tongue-in-cheek within that I think they kind of got away with it because it was so charming. It made sense.
I think the main thing is at least I had something, you know, some sort of like gimmick or like point to go back to, you know, which was sensible. Although I did sort of agree with all the other queens in the workroom who were like, please kill me. This is like the absolute worst. But it was like sort of, it's like a terrible film. It's like what's it, Sharknado or something like that. It was sort of like, it was terrible. It worked, I think.
Yeah. I think it's something that you have to fully commit to, and I think they all just went straight in. Like they went in to commit to that.
Yeah.
It was great. Like, I mean, they deservedly won that challenge, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. But first of all, let's dial it back. I got our stuff to talk about beforehand. But even before that, just to catch up with the chat. Hey, Omar, you're all right. Thanks for joining us. He's got some tea on All Stars 4, which I'm happy to hear. I'm very happy. Always happy for some tea. Unless it's a spoiler of like who wins, then that's not good. But like if it's just general All Stars 4 tea, go for it. Let's hear it. Dan's no longer with us anymore. Don't worry about Dan. Now we'll see. I'll see him sometime in the future. It's just doesn't live that close, you know. Pretty much it. So first of all, sorry, let's start it back in terms of the episode. So what do you think of the teams that were like who the people who paired up together? I thought it was sweet of Eureka to go with Cameron and Monet because they looked kind of lost. I thought that was like a sweet, genuine little moment.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. And I mean, obviously you've heard me before kind of saying how much I normally don't like Eureka, but I was like, oh, you know, like this episode, I was like, okay, this is neutral for me, which is a good sign.
You're neutral about Eureka. I'm actually quite proud of you.
Thank you. I feel like it's an even bigger step than Kimura Lee going with that breastplate. Like, I think it's like that level of self-sacrifice, I think, for me. I admit that. No, I think it was kind of nice. And it was a team that at first I was a little bit nervous about because I kind of thought you've got Monet, who's so funny. You've got Eureka, who can be incredibly funny, but can kind of get the tone a bit wrong sometimes, and Cameron, who we haven't really seen be much of a talker. So I thought like that group had the potential to either be amazing or be absolutely terrible because it could just hit walls. But they worked really well together. Yeah.
Sorry, before we go back onto that, we've got some tea from Omar. So apparently All Star 4's already filming.
What?
Yeah. Don't worry, Kurt. We'll talk about Blair. That's an interesting point you've made, though. But yeah, I'm not feeling great about the fact that All Stars 4 is filming. I want to talk about it.
Yeah, that feels far too soon for me. Because I mean, I already kind of felt like All Stars 3 was too soon.
Yep. 100%.
And All Stars 4. I mean, it's like Rue's really taking it to the bank, isn't he?
Yeah, which is sensible, but I would prefer like some other sort of spin-off season, like some other theme, or I don't know.
Right. And I think for All Stars 4 to really be good, it has. I mean, we've kind of run out of a lot of queens who kind of overdue a return, right?
Exactly.
So we've kind of, it could just be season 9 and 10 again with like a couple of people here and there, unless there's some kind of twist, like the first people out or.
Yes, that'd be fine. If there's a twist, I'd be more here for it. But I feel like don't they have that Drag Race Project Runway crossover or Top Model? What is it?
Oh, you mean the queens who were on America's Next Top Model? As in they were
crossover. Or did I dream that? I thought it was a proper crossover.
Like an actual like full show.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I think it was just I just remember hearing that a couple of queens had like crossed over to do it, but I might not.
No, I know that. I saw the clips of that, but I thought it was going to be like a proper crossover show, but I could be wrong. Chat, let us know if I'm right or not. But even if I'm not, my point is like a show like that would be fine. Like that would be a way for them to make money, fill in the gap, still keep Drag Race going and relevant or whatever. But it's not enough for All Stars, you know? Just like something else would be fine.
Yeah, like I'd be far more up for a season 11 than I would be All Stars 4, like in the very near future, because I feel like it'd be more fun to meet some kind of new queens and to see some new challenges rather than like, oh hey, Shea Coulee, who we saw a year ago. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're on again, or hey, Blair St. Clair, who we saw literally 2 months ago.
Yeah,
hey, you're on a show
Blair
again.
St. Clair should not come back for All Stars 4. We'll talk about that towards the end of the episode, but I do not feel like she should come back for All Stars 4.
Oh really?
Omar saying RuPaul is milking it since the contract with VH1's for a certain amount of time, so he's going to throw these seasons out. Two saying I need me some Valentina and Trinity. Kurt saying no, please, no, please, no more Valentina. I'm with you, Kurt. Watch the season 9 recaps if you want my thoughts on that. Sukin saying there are quite a few: Max, Acid Betty, Shay, Layla, Queen, Vanjie, Shangela's Box. Because some good choices there. If Max is more versatile, great. Layla definitely should come back.
Yes.
Shay, fine, but I feel like everyone knows she's great already. Vanjie, I'd do anything for more Vanjie.
Yeah. Yeah, although I'd be worried that we'd be underwhelmed if Vanjie came back, because we'd have a couple of episodes of her being like Vanjie, and they'd be like, okay, so what are you gonna do next? And she'd be like, Vanjie, and we're like, okay, like, are you gonna? But in fairness, I thought she was gonna get.
I'm fine with that, Bob. Don't.
In fairness, I thought she was going to do fairly well in this season, or at least like last a few weeks. So, like,
yeah, but she went too soon, though. Everyone agrees she went too soon, and that she's a new god.
But that's an excellent point about Acid Betty and Max. I think those are two queens who would be really fun to see back again. Ongina would be cool as well. Yeah,
Ongina would be cool. Although I feel like she's one who's been hyped too much. I feel like if she actually came back, would it be that great? I'm saying probably not. I'm saying she's good, but I don't think she's like the next winner, the next All-Star. You know? Yeah. Okay, so Omar's continuing. There's already 7 queens almost confirmed to be on since they all cancelled shows out of the blue for no reason. Clearly All Stars 4 related.
Oh man.
Sukin saying on Nation Pork Chop will be the final 2 for All Stars. Kurt saying I hated Valentina all of her season. Maxi won her season with 2 wins before she left. Yeah, true. Yeah, go on. Bob, are we up for knowing who's on All Stars 4 so far? Based on like rumors, and I guess it's not confirmed anyway.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Omar, do it. We're into it. Max 1-2 Max is true, but she has no charisma. See, it's this thing. Okay, I talked about Max previously, but let me have a little recap for children. So if you guys watch her audition tape, which is on Vimeo, I believe, just search like Max drag queen audition tape or something like that. She was great. Like she was serving you so many different looks, all really polished, fashion, like a really cool lip sync. It was like an icky rap, but like a cool remix, like gangster version. And she had like all these like completely different looks, different wigs. She wasn't like in the box that she put herself onto in her season. And also like people know off the show, she's like her personality is completely different. She's not all like coquettish and like prudish, and she's not like that at all. She's just like seems to be pretty chill. It's just she's created this like somewhat annoying persona for herself for the season, which was like it's smart in a way if it had worked because she would have had a strong brand, but obviously it didn't work. So if she's able to leave that behind, I would absolutely love to see Max back on the show. But if it's more of the same and she's like, oh, the only reason I lost is because Michelle told me to change the wig color, then I think it'd be terrible.
Yeah. That's what I found weird, because from her video as well, the audition tape, like her Snatch Game ones for that were actually pretty good.
Yeah. What did she do for Snatch Game? I can't remember.
So she had a couple of ones. So she had a Snatch Game one of Sharon Needles that was actually decent.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember. There were a couple of other ones on there. I think she did at least 3, and I remember them actually being decent.
You know your audition tape I'm talking about, don't you?
I think so, yeah.
Well, she does like the runway sort of walks like through the garden and like in all these different places, and the little like rap where she's like on the floor in like some mirror room. And she's got like the mole and stuff. I don't know. Do you remember like long like hair?
This sounds familiar, yeah. I think she would be an interesting one just generally. I think All Stars is really good for queens like that who have a bit of a kind of not cult fan base, but a fan base who is quite like a fan base who loves them, but like were kind of generally overlooked in their season in some way. So kind of like Milk kind of had, but hopefully Max won't come back and just be a dick. But
yeah, I don't know. You can go one of 2 ways with her, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there should be. I'm all up for All Stars being, particularly for queens like that, who really give something quite different in some way.
Yeah. Although the only thing I say that would make it less likely that she'll be back for me would be that I don't think the judges really connected with her too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think they'd be like gagging for her to come back. Okay, so hopefully Omar will get back to us. But while we're waiting, who do you think, apart from the queens we already talked about, should really come back for All Stars 4?
Me personally? Sorry, I thought you were asking the comments.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh shit! Sorry. All good pause. I'm like, let's see what the comments say. I personally, yeah. So Max would be fun. Acid Betty, I would really love to see. From season 9, I mean, like Shay would be great because I mean, it's always good to see more of Shay. She's great. She's just so good.
But like I said, like I feel like I've got like plenty of Shay. Like I loved what I saw of her. Like, do I need any more right now? Like, not really. Maybe in a couple of years' time, but right now I'm fine.
Yeah, I kind of feel that with Trinity personally.
Yeah, same with Trinity for me as well. Unless it's Trinity K. Bonet.
Oh yeah, Trinity K. Bonet. Oh my god, absolutely bring her back.
That would be great. For me, it'd have to be Pearl, like number 1.
Of course, yeah.
Because I think she's changed her style so much as well. She'd be a really interesting one to have back. Oh, plus Adore as well. If she's, I think it's still actually sorted herself out. So Adore coming back could be great. Although it still seems a bit too soon. So maybe All Stars 5 for Adore. Right. Omar's replied. Okay, so so Valentina. Well, let's go through one by one. Okay, Valentina, just like a yay or nay for each one. Valentina.
It's a meh. I mean, it'd be fun to see her more. I mean, she's beautiful, and it would be good to see more of those looks. But I mean, I was a bit like, I feel like I also got my fill of her in her season.
Okay, I think she tried too hard to be nice this time. Like, she'd be too concerned about her image, and we won't see her true bitchy self. And I know it'd be annoying for me, and it's just going to be a season of frustration for me. So Shay, we've already sort of talked about.
Yeah, absolutely, yay.
Cool. Layla, we've already sort of talked about. Okay. Yes. So I've skipped ahead. Jasmine Masters.
Yes.
Yes.
There is a god. It would just be so funny, just because. Like, we need more things to quote of hers. Like, we just...
Yeah, I agree with Katya. She's our Lord and Saviour. Although I can see her just bringing, like, a single suitcase and just opening it to be like a loaf of bread in the middle. I'll be here for that.
That's and every challenge, she's just like... Instead of actually, like, doing the proper challenge, she just walks down the runway, like, yelling, like, new catchphrases that she's trying out. It'd be perfect.
Vanjie was on as well.
I just want like a RuPaul's Jasmine race where it's just like Jasmine Masters walking around just like yelling at things. I mean,
just I totally agree with that. I said Betty we've talked about. Max, okay, that's cool. So we've been for her. This has got to be a joke.
What?
James Mansfield.
No way, really. I was wondering if James would, because I know that, because I remember seeing this thing before where Rue said that that her audition tape was one of the funniest he's ever seen.
I don't know what's happening. I can't understand it. I can't work it out. It's like Aliens, where people say they exist, but have you seen them? You know?
Are you basically saying that James Mansfield is the equivalent of like flat earthers?
I'm not saying that verbatim. But, you know, you could infer that from my comment if you saw it.
Amazing.
Yes, Vanjie is in the list. Awesome. So Vanjie and Jasmine together, I think that could be the best season of anything ever, potentially.
Right. But then that's also a terrible season for James Mansfield to be on, because surely he should just get completely overshadowed by like basically meme queens.
I feel like any season would be a terrible season for James Mansfield to be on. Let's be real. And Naomi Smalls. Okay, the comments are going quite fast. So sorry, I need to go through them. So Kurt saying Darian Lake, she was top 4. Kurt saying I don't think James will be on there. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Two saying, love me some Valentina. What more could Valentina do? Oh, that's what Kurt said. Two saying, where's Trinity Taylor? Omar saying, I didn't think that as well, but James has been doing tons of Wow Presents stuff and cancelled shows, and she's been spotted in LA. C.U.N.T saying, I think TT for Trinity Taylor for All Stars 5, so her and Eureka can really compete. Kurt, you're really who's really pushing Trinity? Is it 2 people or just 1? Kurt is saying, aren't most of these queens going to be at DragCon? Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Sutikin, I wouldn't mind a season of all first eliminated queens. We've talked about that so much. I still don't know how I feel about that. RuPaul's Underdogs. A rumored theme of All Stars 4 is a redemption season.
Isn't that what like 3 was?
I was gonna say, was that not All Stars 3? Yeah, because that was All Stars 3.
Isn't that generally as well the point of All Stars?
Actually, very good point. Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting. The whole like first out from each season could be an interesting concept, but then it's also weird because you're focusing on people who were not known for doing very well in their season, which kind of negates it being like all-stars per se, right? I mean, obviously they're still talented queens and they still are very good. They have to be of a good caliber to basically get on the show. But like, I don't know, Alyssa Summers, there's nobody going to be like, oh my God, yes, fucking got Alyssa Summers back.
Like, I love her. No, yeah, good point. Yeah, I think it's far more interesting. That's again, someone like Shay, having someone like Shay in a competition is far less interesting to me, or Valentina, because we already know they're good. Like, I don't know. Right? That's why Aja was so great, because she had so much potential to do amazing.
Right.
She just hadn't fulfilled it. Or someone like this season, for example, bring it back. Nice little segue. Monique Hart, for example, like she, given the money that she's been lacking, I'd love to see what she could do. You know.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. I love with, by the way, I love with our predictions on this. We're basically already saying who we don't think is going to win this current season, which is totally fair, because I think like, as fun as Monique Hart is, I mean, unless we see like a massive thing over the next couple of weeks, I can't really see her being at the top.
I've reread her recently, but I agree, it's a shame.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's go back to the episode, because that was a good little. Nina Bonina was the one I was thinking.
Yeah, she'd be great.
I'd really like to see on it, but I don't think she's sorted her head out yet, to be honest. Oh, am I saying she isn't ready yet? Yeah. Okay, let's get back into the episode. Thanks, Omar. That was some good, nice little All Stars 4 diversion there. But yeah, okay. So, Monet was part. We were talking about groups, right? And Monet was part of the team that was doing padding. And talking about redemption, I was saying, I think Monet, if I was Monet, I would have done the hit pad addicted character from previous episode again.
Right.
Like, done it well? Like, redeemed herself?
I think so, yeah. I mean, Rue kind of even pointed it out a little bit in the workroom, just that, like, the missed opportunity from the previous week, just that could have been hilarious, but it kind of wasn't last week. So, yeah, like, I think that would have been kind of fun. I mean, luckily what they had worked, and I mean, yeah, they kept on saying proportionizing, it worked. But like, you know, I think as well, they as a group just kind of got what the challenge was. They understood that.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
It was a mixture of, like, they knew that they had to be funny, they had to be, and because the audience was going to vote on them, they had to be charming. And also they had to kind of give some advice, not making it too heavy, but there had to be some kind of takeaway from it. And they did, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Although I like it when I open a floor up to any questions. And my note I wrote for that was, "Sir, your question is not regarding proportionizing." It was just something totally random. It was like, "Oh, what do you think about the way drag queens are treated in LA?" It wasn't quite that. It was like something like that.
Wasn't it about like drag in the current political climate?
Yeah, I'm like, mate, like, have you not heard about proportionizing? Like, right.
I'm waiting for the moment in like a few months' time where WoW Presents Plus has like Eureka doing a proportionizing channel. It's gonna happen. I'm just sure of it.
Oh no, you can't drag that on. Like, you can't.
Right. Well, you say that.
Yeah.
Some of the shit is on WoW Presents Plus. But I think
there goes our sponsorship. Thanks for that.
So, you know, but yeah, I think we can get it from Squatty Potty. We're all right.
Fair. I'm on mine right now, actually. That's what
so
and
we're doing this all via Squarespace. But no, that's the thing. Because of the nature of the challenge, I think it was quite weird that question came up. But I feel like they probably were asked some questions about proportionizing that were like, and then then they just, you know, this was kind of to have this as like the political moment on TV, you know, like talking about the importance of drag. Yeah, I did wonder if they actually got any other content questions, but I also feel like they gave enough content with what they said. Like they didn't just say dress for your body; they kind of gave some some sort of tips as to how one might do that. And actually, they were kind of the three right queens for that. I think they were quite good at.
No. Eureka was a right queen. Eureka is great at padding, but I still don't know if it's just me or not. Guys, like, say in the chat, say in the comments. But I really don't think Monet's padding is good at all. I think her like butt padding is good, but she just doesn't have like any boobage. Like, she explained how she creates the illusion by like pulling her fat forward and stuff. Like, I've watched loads of trans videos. I know the tea, but like I feel like she doesn't pad. I feel like she like pushes like her fat towards the middle or whatever and creates like the crease well, fine. But then like there's no padding here, like her like in proportion to her ass, her chest is really flat, you know?
I can't say I've noticed it, but I'm going to look out for that now.
Like every episode, it really annoys me. Every time she always wears like bodysuits, like figure hugging suits. And like I know every woman looks different, all this sort of stuff. But the whole point, like you're judging them on like talent in terms of like the art form of what they're trying to do. And she's obviously trying to create like a certain illusion, a certain figure. And like part of like the how do you say it? Like the technicalities or whatever of drag is good padding. Right. So I think it's fair to say like her padding isn't good. Like maybe her waist isn't cinched enough. She doesn't have enough like boob padding. Like everything from like there down is great. But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. It could just be me. Maybe I'm just like not seeing what she's selling properly.
I just feel like you haven't really got the whole point of proportionizing, Grant.
No, I've learned nothing from the panel. I was really trying to pay attention as well. But yeah, they did good generally, didn't they?
Yeah, and they were funny. They were likable. It didn't surprise me that Eureka was the top choice from the public. I guess it also helps that they know her already, but I think it does. I think she was incredibly likable on that panel.
Which one? Sorry,
Eureka.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think she won a challenge right now. I wrote like before she won a challenge, I'm like Eureka deserves to win. She was great.
Yeah.
She led the whole thing. She was really charismatic. She was really fun. Like nothing negative to say. She looked great. Like she did really, really well. And she is like by far the best proportioned big girl I've seen on the show.
Right, absolutely. So I think that made total sense. Who was the group in the middle? I always forget one or two people who were in the second group. So it was Monique.
Who was with Monique? What was it? Was it wig? No. Were they wigs? No, they weren't wigs. They were makeup.
Makeup, yes.
The makeup was Aquaria, right?
Yes, there we go. So Aquaria, Monique, and who are you missing?
Asia?
Yes.
It was Asia, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but sorry. So in just going back a little bit.
Oh, sure, yeah.
In the workroom, I wrote down RuPaul's best friend race and a heart. People being really nice. Why is everyone being nice?
That is a very good question. No, I think they were just kind of. I think a few of them were talking about how they wanted to turn their groups into just like proper like little love-ins and just sit there being like, oh, chatting with my friends and like making it a really positive atmosphere. So I think that was probably it, from what I remember.
Okay.
I might have completely. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like we had so much drama this season. It's just like the opposite this episode.
This was a really calm episode by comparison.
Yeah, I wrote down like bless Aquaria as well, but I can't remember why. Again, I think she said
just a general blessing.
General blessing, you know, she's welcome. And Monique. Okay, this is something we need to talk about. Actually, sorry, we missed this out previously. Monique having to make all her runway looks and finding out that she didn't come here with anything really.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of surprised me, but it also makes sense in how she's spoken about everything that she's brought to the runway. Because I think part of her, I wouldn't call it bitterness, but I feel like occasionally she feels a bit hard done by, right? You know, especially the first few weeks, she thought that should have been in the top and it was safe, or that should have been at least safe and it was in the bottom. And, you know, so I think she has felt a little bit hard done by it. And I can kind of imagine why, because if you've got queens, like as you said, basically rocking up with like $3,000 gowns that someone has made for them. And she's like, well, I've got some fabric. Let's snip. Let's see what happens. It's, I mean, I think it's incredibly hard. And I mean, that said, what she's produced has been, I mean, I've enjoyed. I haven't like loved it, but I think in
circumstance, like in retrospect, I'm extremely impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. I was like, they weren't my favorite outfits, but like she made them all. Whereas, you know, and this is not me shading Aquaria in any way, but like Aquaria can kind of like put on her outfit and like spend more time on makeup because she doesn't have to necessarily make a lot of those parts. I mean, she might have to reconfigure how they are or like take them in a little bit or move bits around, but the stress of creating the whole outfit from scratch isn't necessarily there for her and for a few other queens. So
most of the queens, right? Like,
yeah, really. And it's an interesting thing to see how drag has kind of professionalized over the last few years, because and proportionized, obviously, because it's interesting that so many more queens come in with like almost the whole game plan. They've got like this whole array of outfits that they've been able to get made for them months in advance. They have an idea, or hopefully what they're going to do for Snatch Game. They have their catchphrases ready. They have their music video ready to drop by the time that they leave the show.
Have you seen
like? Yeah, I've seen Blair's. I actually enjoyed it.
I had a chance to check it out. So I saw like it can pop up on the way home and didn't get a chance. Is it any good?
I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, it's not like my favorite. I actually quite like Dusty's, but
I haven't seen that either.
It's pretty decent. But like the video, it's like even if you don't really like the song too much for Blair's, the video is great and it has Jinx being hilarious in it. So
cool. I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, like it's interesting how things have kind of professionalized in that sense. Because you can't really imagine a queen on the first season or even the second season coming in with like this whole set of outfits completely made, completely tailored, fit each challenge. It's kind of interesting to see how that's changed.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And it just reminded me when you were chatting, like obviously the relatively recent controversy, which I'm dragging up again, of Ru talking about trans girls who've had surgery being allowed to compete, having an unfair advantage. Surely, like if you want to make that a rule, then like don't let them bring outfits or limit the amount they can spend on outfits or something like that. Because someone like Courtney Act has a massive advantage over someone like Monique. Like it's just they're not even on the same playing field at all. It just seems really unfair in a way. But also, I suppose it's something they can't really help because it's just circumstantial. I suppose it's a tricky one.
The only way around that would be to have every challenge being a sewing challenge in some ways, or having an element of making it on the spot, which is demanding.
Yeah, of course, and I'm realistic because I don't expect all queens to be good at sewing. Because everyone's got a different area of expertise, I guess. But I do feel like Monique's it's extremely unlikely she would ever win, because she has a massive disadvantage against the other queens.
Yeah, and I mean Courtney's a good example for you to bring up for that, because if you think about her wings that she had,
that's what I was thinking of,
and basically she just wore like basically underwear with it, she
and chapstick and mascara. Don't forget.
Right. Oh yeah, sorry, the fundamental parts of the Courtney Act look, but yeah, that's exactly it. I think it was something that that does definitely mean that Courtney can maybe spend more time thinking about her performance for certain challenges or how she's going to be on the runway. It doesn't mean that she's got it easy, but it does mean that there are maybe some things that she has to spend less time thinking about.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I think it's this episode they're saying she made her look within half an hour, or they say also how tight they were on time. Yet Monique had still made time to construct an entire look. That's so impressive.
It gave me a lot more respect for her, because but I'd been a bit kind of on some of her looks, but I'm like, given that she has really had to do that from scratch, that's impressive. And it also means a few things kind of make sense now, like the random cow/giraffe print. It kind of makes sense because she's like, well, I've got this material. Yeah. Whereas I think other queens would be like, I don't need to use that. I've got this.
I was still getting brown cow. It was still brown cow. Damn it! I'm with her on this.
I did get cow. I thought it was a very weird cow, but it was more cow than giraffe for me, at least.
Sexy cow, I'd say. So right, what else happened in the challenge? Sorry, we're on Aquaria, Asia, and Monique.
Yeah. I think it was kind of unfortunate from the layout of this episode, and because of the order that you'd have to do all these parts in, that it kind of started off really hot on a good high and then ended on the low, in that sense. Because as you were going through each one, there was so much energy in that first group's one, and then you get to Monique, Aquaria, and Asia, and it's a little bit it was good, it was okay, it was passable, it was safe, but. Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know. I thought it was editing in a way, because they really focus on the fact when Asia was drying her eyelash and Aquaria was applying glitter lip. Yeah. I think it was all fine. I think they must have turned up the sound of the hairdryer, and obviously people could hear what was happening. I don't think it was the wreck it was made out to be. I thought overall it was concise. It was informative. It was somewhat amusing. It was lighthearted. It was I had nothing really negative to say about it. I think it was edited to look a lot worse than it actually was.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not the first time, obviously, as well, because in Untucked, just the sheer volume, like every time someone like takes a drink with a straw, is just like,
yeah,
someone takes a drink, it's like, yeah, that's obviously what happened in that
exactly.
segment.
That's a drinking noise,
right? But I think you're right. I think, I mean, it was kind of still safe. Like, it didn't for me have a massive wow factor, and I feel like they did.
Wow presents factor. Sorry.
But no, I think, like, for example, all of the queens individually gave tips that were really useful. So I think theirs was very practical, and they slightly missed the kind of fun edge of it, but it was passable. Like, it was good. Whereas I feel like,
I was impressed with Aquaria as well, because she is like not naturally funny and socially awkward as well. And I think like bearing in mind, and when I practiced, didn't she do really bad? Yeah, when I practicing, she did terribly. So I think bearing in mind how bad it could have gone. Right. I was impressed.
Yeah, she did all right. I think Asia and Monique was really charming. I thought it was good that she was the one leading it, because she's naturally kind of like, she's got that very personable, I just met you, but we're like best friends kind of.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she got the most the most votes from within her group, if not maybe more than some people in the first group.
Votes? Oh yeah,
no, from the audience, yeah.
Oh, I agree totally. Like I always say, like I hear, like, one of the things I judge the queens on is like who I like most like to hang out with, and like Monique seems like really easy to get on with, really fun to hang out with. Like, not everything she said in challenge, not every little quip or joke was a hit, and that's pretty typical of her. But still, like, she has the charisma just to carry it off. Like, just still to be like, it wasn't awkward, or when things didn't hit, it wasn't really awkward. It was still engaging, and she just like kept it going. And I thought she did really well.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of an interesting challenge for queens who are not known for having big personalities. So Cameron and Aquaria, both queens who a lot of people are like, can they speak? Both did all right, and so I think it was good. And then we come to the final group.
Yeah. So go on. Who's it? It's like Cameron,
the Vixen, Blair, and Miss Cracker. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Go on. You go first.
So I think there were a lot of missed opportunities, and I think they somewhat misread the vibe, because I think all three of those queens, because as they said on the stage, they've worked together before and had real success with it, and they love kind of bantering and joking, but the audience doesn't know them. So the first time the audience is meeting them is them being like, your hairline. I don't get a feeling for who those queens are by just hearing them insulting each other like that. Like, and it's not just like the reading thing itself per se, but it's more for me that those were not really jokes. They just felt like kind of barbed comments.
That's the issue. Like, it can be done in a funny way. Like, if it was Bianca doing it, it would have been great.
Right. That's exactly what I was about to say next. Like, if Bianca had been on that panel and had made those kind of wisecracks, you'd have known who Bianca was from that, even if you'd never experienced her before. And I think the problem with that is I tried watching that and imagining I didn't know any of those queens. And really, I didn't get much of a vibe from any of them. You wouldn't really have worked out who the Vixen was, or who Blair or who Miss Cracker were from that.
No, maybe the issue is because they don't have a great rapport amongst themselves generally anyway.
Well, they said that they'd worked together before as a team and had loved it. So, like, apparently they should have been like thick as thieves. But
I feel like to make those sort of like piss-takey jokes with someone, you need to have a good rapport with them, and then it just feels more. It comes across as more natural, and they can react in a more natural way as well. But it just felt very stilted and like typical sort of jokes you'd expect drag queens to make, and it wasn't delivered in the right way, and like, I don't know.
Yeah, I almost feel like what they needed, because they spoke about how they seem to be picking on Blair, and I feel like you almost needed for that to work, you'd almost have needed someone like Blair to be like, to just be full on the person they're picking on, and it to be overtly part of the joke, as in like the Vixen and Miss Cracker both being like, here's how you do it, here's not, here's how you don't do it, here's how you don't do it. And I feel like that was kind of necessary, like for those lines to be a lot clearer, because I think instead it was so kind of blurry that it was kind of like, do they like each other, like, or are they just like insulting each other, or like, is that a joke, or is that just like, what is it?
That's what Kurt's saying. He's saying poor Blair, I think she would have done better in the second group. Two saying true, she should switch with Asia. But I see, I don't know, because I think, I mean, Blair is obviously very sweet, but like to be in this sort of challenge and to be a drag queen generally, especially one that's going to win the show, you can't be a wallflower. Like you have to like be able to hold yourself in those sort of situations, not just even hold yourself, like rise up and like meet their level, like meet and exceed the level you're being communicated with, sort of things. That makes sense. Like,
yeah, I have to admit, I thought this was going to be Blair's challenge.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought like she's so sweet that she would have just been on the panel being like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're all here. Like, let's talk about this thing. She's worked in hair, like she's experienced. She should have been like this little fountain of knowledge, like bubbling with excitement. And like, it just fell flat. And I'm like, I don't
She's always awkward to me though, like in terms of like a social situation like that. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I think you're right.
I know she has the knowledge, but that's the thing. Like, see, this is my point. Like, I guess we can talk about it now, but you know, I think I might have said, sorry, I think I might have said it previously, but I just don't think Blair was ready for the competition. She has a lot of great qualities, and she's obviously extremely talented, but she just isn't, like, again, it's similar. It's frustrating me, these queens, like similar to Mayhem. Like her confidence level just hasn't been there. Like it's just she seemed like a flower the whole time, really.
With both of them, I felt like they were holding something back. Yeah, you know, exactly. There were a few times where Blair's runways, like, you know, she'd come out in a coat and you're like, come on, I can imagine there being an amazing reveal under this, or like you've clearly thought something else through, or you're going to like really play with this look a bit more. And it kind of just stopped there. And I mean, Mayhem's kind of worked in a similar way, not quite to as much with the looks, but just kind of in the performances. And I think for both of them, I just felt, yeah, that like you kind of, with that stable of queens around you, you need to be going for it every single episode. You cannot you cannot let your foot off the pedal. The fact that a lot of queens who have won challenges or have been high in a lot of challenges have also been in the bottom two or bottom three is a really important thing for this. You know, normally you kind of, you know, you might see someone who ends up being in the top three or top four kind of falter once and maybe be in the, you know, be in the bottom two or something. But so far this beginning part, I mean, I said it last week as well, but like so far this part of the season, that I find it really interesting because there are so many queens who, you know, someone like Mayhem, when she first had to lip sync, everyone's a bit like, what, already? Like, what? I mean, I say that Raven had to lip sync twice in a row really early into her season. But at the same time, you're like, it doesn't happen that often. You know, you didn't see Jinx in the bottom three in week 2 or week 3. You didn't see a lot of those other queens really struggling that early on. So but
in regards to Blair though, like I think one thing you can't do in Drag Race is stay in the box, and that's what she's done. Like in terms of looks, but in terms of challenge as well, she's stuck. She can do one character in terms of looks and personality, challenge drag character very, very well, but she hasn't done anything outside of that whatsoever. Because I feel like she's scared. She's been scared to leave her comfort zone, and that's something you have to do in Drag Race to succeed.
I'm hoping she has like a full Ben de la Creme kind of thing, because I feel like Ben had quite similar. I know you don't like her, but Ben had similar criticisms in season 6, which is like not really people getting to know her that much, because they're like the kind of very classical, very classic Ben de la Creme was so present that we didn't always get enough of what was underneath. And I'm intrigued to see little eyebrow raise there. And so I'm intrigued to see what we get with Blair, because I think she could be one who would. I kept on, because really early on I was like, okay, I like her now. By about week 3, I was like, okay, I think I get her now. And then I was like, okay, I'm still not seeing that next step. But we shall see.
I mean, I guess we'll talk about her story in a little bit. But I mean, maybe that's got something to do with it in terms of like not fulfilling her confidence, her potential in some ways.
Right.
So C.U.N.T saying he thinks, and it's something that's a good point as well, that he thinks the problem with the team was that they didn't really have a moderator.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, and he also says all 3 were off-brand. He gives some suggestions about what they could have done, like played more to their own experience of hair. For example, Blair could have shown how to wear wigs and then not age you, for example. He also said Crocker could have shown her braided hat to say some workroom time, which I think would have been good. Kurt saying Blair should have played up to her sweetness. I think she sort of tried that at the beginning, like the corny thing with the corn and stuff, and like again, it's just very one-dimensional. Like she is very sweet, but like you have to have something more there. You know, that's my opinion. And sorry, the font's quite small. Kunimitsu is saying, yes, I study Japanese. And what? Do you guys think there will be a future contestant in future seasons who will beat Bendela Creme? So All Stars 3 stats. Ooh, that's actually a good question.
I mean, it's a tough one to do because you basically almost want everything. So,
exactly. Although I strongly feel if Vanjie in All Stars 4 could easily beat her. Just checking it out there.
It'll be like, do you know the what is it? Did you know the Family Guy episode where Lois is running for election and for every question she just answers 9/11?
Yeah.
And the crowd like loves her. I feel like that's what's going to happen with All Stars 4 and Miss Vanjie. It'll be like, so what are you thinking? Like, so Miss Vanjie, what is happening with this outfit? You're like, Vanjie, and everyone will be like, just
slay it again. Plus the Vanjie.
Work the house down boots, realness. You know, so it'll be interesting to see if that does happen. But I don't think anyone. It'll be very difficult for someone to match it. Maybe Shay could.
Maybe. It's so difficult for me, this conversation, because we all know my thoughts on Ben. Like, he's good at what he does, but I don't know. I'm not into it. And Yosis, we've already debriefed on All Stars 4. The video will go up after the stream finishes, so check it out if you want to hear what we think. And let us know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. Kurt, you're right. No more All Stars 4 talk for now. Okay, so anything else to say? Yeah, so what we're talking about? The hair team. Yeah, so, okay, go on, you go first.
Oh, no, sorry, I was just going to say, like, I think they kind of got the tone wrong. And if you were in the audience, I don't think you would necessarily have voted much for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, compared to the second group, I don't think it was a total shit show. I don't think it was as bad as the editing made it seem, but it obviously was the weakest of the three groups at the same time. But one thing I am extremely disappointed in, it's something I said last episode, is although I agree that it's not like specifically a comedy challenge, but I feel like with these sort of challenges, it was vital for both Cracker and Monet to shine. Yeah. Monet was fine, but you know, Cracker especially was a weak link, and like this is her jam. Like she's a comedy social queen who should be able to present herself very well in a situation like this. And you know, in Untucked, you see that she feels the same way. And I just feel like it's a pretty dire sign that she performed so poorly.
Yeah, I have to admit, because I love Miss Cracker, but I was just like, oh no, like why? And I can't remember who actually answered the question, because there was a question from the audience, and it was just like the most poorly answered question in the world. Really? It was kind of like, so do you know, there was that moment in season 7. So sometimes these moments, I realize that, So there's a moment in season 7 where Violet was asked like if she had any rhythm, and she said no. And Rue was like, so what are you going to do? And she's like, I'm just going to own it. And you're like, so your answer is that you're going to own your lack of rhythm.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like that kind of level of question answering kind of happened with this. They were like, any advice for a baby queen? They're like, yeah, you know, you just got to work it and like live your dream and find things that work for you. And like, like be confident. And you're like, I feel like you could literally say that to any question. This person was asking about hair, and they were just like, brush it a couple of times.
Exactly.
Great. I'm sure that's what they're planning.
Exactly. Like if they had asked about proportionizing, fine, but like it was specific to what they were supposed to be talking about. So no, you're right. I actually feel like the Vixen probably performed the least weak out of everyone on the team.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
It was still not good. It was still not good. But she had like a couple of lulls.
Right, and I think if there had been some kind of moderator in some form, I think what the Vixen was doing would have landed better as well.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like anything else to say about the challenge?
Not particularly. This episode wasn't like, it didn't set me on fire. I mean, I don't really want to be set on fire. You know what I mean?
You do.
It's a real thing of mine.
I know it is. It is awkward. I always catch you looking up those videos. I just don't know what to do.
But it's one of those like one-off kind of fetishes. You know, like you do it once, and then you kind of can't really do it again because you're kind of you've been on fire and you're probably dead.
Unless you're one of those suits. Like those suits that you can set on fire.
I mean, you've just revolutionized my sex life, so thank you.
It's okay. You're welcome. That's what this channel's all about, guys. If you want to revolutionize any other sex lives, just let me know.
That was you doing like the right kind of question answering from
That's how it's done, team.
That is it. All right. My question was, how can I set myself on fire for sexual purposes multiple times? And you answered my life. You know,
there's actually a better way, to be honest. You could also try proportionizing.
You just proportionize your fire.
Exactly. That's actually quite a good tip, to be fair. Yeah. So, should we move on to the runway?
Yes.
Kurt says, I want to read this out. Kurt is saying, my sex life is fine, bland but fine. Not really a question, but I do appreciate the information. I'd like to get to know my audience.
How can you proportionize the sex life? Please give us some information. Or are you going to give like a Blair answer where basically like just comb it twice? Yeah,
that's a good idea. Try combing it twice. Yeah. Vixen, sorry, Kurt's also saying the Vixen tried to be the center of attention, not in a good way. Yeah, but I felt like at the same time she sort of had to do something because A, there was no moderator, and B, like no one else was doing well. So
yeah, I feel like Cracker could have been a really fun moderator because she's naturally very funny, and I think it would have really paired off like the Vixen style of comments that she had in that and Blair's, because they kind of felt like opposites in some ways. So that would have been a really fun thing, or even actually any ordering of that pretty much would have worked. I think it would have been quite good having the Vixen as a moderator as well. I think she would have kept it in line. It was directionless, and I think that was the problem. It kind of just went on like we're just kind of babbling a bit about hair and insulting each other. It's a bit like, okay, where's the meat?
Yeah, I agree. Although to be fair, like it is tricky because like I would be, if I was in a challenge, I wouldn't know like if I should be focusing on being funny or if I should be focusing on being informative. And I think it's sort of difficult to navigate because like they both I don't know. Like it's just I don't know. I think that's why. Go on.
So no, I think that's what is at the heart of the challenge. Is there is a tension between those two things because and actually I feel like it was almost directly related to who did well and who didn't, because a team like Eureka's team had that good balance of like, here's some information, we're going to tell it with a joke, but then come back to it and then go back to the joke.
I think it's really difficult to do well though.
Right. I think the middle team, what they did well was they basically had Monique being funny and doing some good stuff about what she was talking about, and then Aquaria being kind of a bit more serious, and so coming back. So the energy levels worked a bit for that. It moved to the right places. But I think what the third group failed at was it didn't really land anywhere between those. It wasn't informative and it wasn't funny.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree. So should we go through what runway looks?
Yes.
Okay, one by one. Guys, give us your thoughts as we go, please. So, Cameron.
I really liked this. I thought the outfit itself was a little bit basic, but I was just really loving the little hat. I did kind of feel a bit sorry for her at one point when it kind of stopped naturally spinning and she had to kind of like try and knock it again. But I really enjoyed it as a look. Cameron has been really surprising me this season because I was not expecting to see her constantly doing as many nice looks. So.
Yeah, like it was. Now you sort of said like that. It's sort of like an office toy, like a hat. Like you couldn't really like take your eyes off it, right? Like mesmerizing.
The only problem I did have with it, thinking of what you said in terms of office, it did feel a little bit like her coming to the party and be like, "I'm the kooky one in this office."
Yeah, I was for it. I want to give it like a little tap and see what happens.
You want to tap Cameron? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just chuck it out there, Cameron, hit me up, girl. I thought the hat was amazing, but I think the outfit was super basic. Yeah. Like lame. Wasn't here for it. Sorry, after I just said like bad taffy Cameron. But I love the hat. So
it was a hat challenge. So
exactly. So that's what I mean. So it was like a toot from me because of the amazing hat. But yeah, outfit was like lame IMO. Wait, what are you guys saying? This runway was so. Oh wait, Sukin saying. Oh wait, okay. 2 is you guys are just naughty. 2 is saying Cameron Schmoot. Sukin saying love Cameron. It was Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a little. I actually thought I was watching it too. It was a little bit Guardians of the Galaxy. Kurt says runway is so much fun. Sukin is she's my winner, calling it. Again, I said this before. I feel like people need to calm down about Cameron. Sure, she's good, but she's not all-star level good. All right. Okay, saying Cameron was good, but not my favorite. Grant, Cameron's mine. Okay, Sukin, you can have Cameron. I'm not that bothered. Monet.
I really enjoyed Monet's one, and I think especially because she's had a few weeks of looks that have been really called out for being a bit kind of unfinished. I thought it felt like a full character for me, and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, and I think I didn't feel like it fully went in terms of it being a hat challenge.
That's pretty standard though, isn't it?
Oh, but no, I enjoyed it. I think it was good because it kind of cemented her place in the top there as well. It was good to see that she had done well in the challenge and her look was quite polished. So
yeah, I don't mean it was a bit obvious, wasn't it? Like but I mean it was still obviously quirky, cool, blah blah. But it was relatively safe. She didn't push the envelope out too far. She pushed out a tiny bit, but not off the table.
Like a little cat that's sat there on a table, exactly. Yeah.
But she sort of needs to, right? She needs to do something epic to save this competition for herself.
I really would have wanted her to have done something like Asia did.
Yeah, but realistically, she's not going to, though. I suppose.
Perhaps not, but
probably spacing too much on her. So you can say, my name impressed me. This should have been her best drag. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the best look she's done so far. I totally agree. People overall are liking it in the chat, which is good. Okay, Eureka.
I didn't hate it, which is really big for me in Eureka. I actually quite enjoyed it. The only one thing I have against it is that she kept on talking about it being a samurai look, and I was like, I didn't quite get that.
Same.
But aside from that, I thought it was beautiful. I kind of got this I don't know. It was kind of like widow to a wealthy husband who shows up at his funeral and is kind of oh, I'm quite sad, but also I want to make sure everybody else at this funeral knows that I'm the shit.
Like Yaz at my funeral. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I really liked Red Hair Don't Care. The red accents to the outfit, because obviously it was super monotone and quite dark, like you said. But then there's red contacts and the red hair.
That was cool. That was really cool. That was
so cool. That really made it for me. That stepped it up to a 10. Not a 10, that's too high. But it stepped out from a good outfit to an amazing thing. I don't know. Right. I just thought that was really cool. It's very intense overall.
Yeah. And I'm glad that she didn't have a loaf on her head.
Yeah, same.
Because I felt again that would have been quite obvious for her. So I'm glad that she stepped away from that, had no hair at all, and at least no visible hair. And yeah, I thought it was good. It was a really strong week for Eureka look-wise as well, I think. Yeah,
I agree. People really liking Eureka's outfit in the chat. Although Yosis is saying it was no samurai girl, which I agree. Hey, Smarty, you all right? Thanks for coming back. I thought, so you can say, I thought she looked like an upside down Beyblade with a big beast. I lived for it. He lived for it. Yay! That's cool.
That's genius.
And Cooney saying, I'm living for Eureka this season. She's significantly more mature than she was in season 9. I love her so much. Yep, I second that. Bob, I think, seconds that more than me, though.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I was not expecting to like her much. And I am feeling pretty neutral about her, which is, a good sign. I'm trying to be open to it. But she's going up in my estimation.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to tip into the positive side of the fence before the season ends.
Maybe, yeah.
Not maybe, you will.
That's my
promise. Yeah, that's my prediction.
You're proportionizing.
Exactly. You already said proportionizing 400 times this episode. So
I'm on commission.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Aquaria.
I loved this. I absolutely adored this.
So cool.
It was, oh my god, it was stunning. It was so fashionable. But at the same time, it was quite funny. I also loved the little kind of slightly off-kilter thing with the hat. I loved that the hat wasn't fully glued on. Like, it kind of moved a little bit when she turned. She had a little cane. It was a really clever use of the hat as a, the whole like rabbit magic.
So cool.
Hat
so cool.
Genius. And I loved it. And I really appreciated as well that she had kind of a more androgynous look to it as well. I absolutely loved it. I think Aquaria so far has turned out some of my favorite looks this season, and that's one of them.
Favorite looks of all time for me. Yeah, totally. Lawrence channeling Miss Vanjie, which I'm always here for. Kurt saying likes it, funny, but not my favorite one of her looks. Tua saying Aquaria too. Cooney saying I have a feeling Eureka comes from the same background as Trinity Taylor. She may go to top like she did. Yeah. Yosis is saying apparently Aquaria's cane had a magic trick, but got
I saw about this because it was like one of those like collapsible ones. So basically, when she came with nothing in her hand, basically, well, seemingly nothing, and kind of went and it kind of like popped out. But apparently that was just off screen, so you didn't quite see it. But like, great. I mean, she's so put together when it comes to looks. Like every single thing is thought of. She's great. I'd love to see her doing a little bit more of that with some of the challenges, but I think she's getting better.
Yeah. Sutakin saying Aquaria showed a real complexity to her style, which I found fresh to watch. Yeah, it's very layered, isn't it? A lot of her looks are very layered.
Yeah, and I think for someone who's such a fashion queen, not me. I realize that sounds like I'm a fashion queen.
That's you. Don't put yourself down. You are a fashion queen.
Yeah, I mean, like the wearing like slightly loose denim-ish shirts.
Fashion queen.
There we go. I mean, always. I have like kind of just like Bianca. I have these in every color.
You really
I probably do. Actually, no, I have this in at least one other color.
Yeah.
Look, I think what I find really interesting about her, and something that I eventually grew to love a lot with Violet, is that it's not just like I'm a fashion queen, here's a beautiful gown. It's here's something that very cleverly plays on that theme. So yeah, like you're gonna do a look completely based on like a hat, and you actually take most of the focus away from the hat, but you are kind of coming out of the hat. Like genius. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I think Smarty's put it really well. He said Aquarius is pushing beyond just female drag into wearable art. That sums up Aquarius perfectly. Yeah,
absolutely
loved it. And yeah, like I think the only thing I'd like to add, because I totally agree with everything you said, is like I'm here for androgynous queens and androgyny generally, but like it would be nice to see her give us like a full female fantasy. But for this particular look, I think it really elevated it. Like it really just the whole thing was perfect. Like it wouldn't have looked good if she had padded or.
I agree.
I don't know. Like it was just so cool because it was a female rabbit, but like it's just, again like the look was just layered. It just had a lot to it.
It was great.
And yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely loved it. We should move on. Okay, so this is an interesting one to talk about after we found out this episode. Monique.
Yeah, see, I didn't love it, and I didn't really hate it. I felt kind of somewhat neutral towards it. But I mean, there were certain parts of it that I loved, and other parts where I just kind of wanted to tweak it. Mostly, I liked it. I liked the range of colors. I like how it had that kind of that sort of like seashell kind of light,
like pearlescent.
Yeah. Nice plug there.
Coming soon, visual novel. Get it on Steam. Always the same blue sky. First one. Sorry, continue.
But no, I think I did like that. There were a few like little tweaks I would have made. I say I would have made to it. Like I really know what I'm doing with fashion.
Bob, you're a fashion queen. Stop doubting yourself. Not on my stream.
It's gonna be like, was it like Kennedy being like, I'm not creative, and like Santino being like, you are creative. You're a drag queen.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like you are my Santino right now.
I really am. It's because I'm bald. That's out of order.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Yeah,
you need to win a sewing competition.
Ooh.
Overall, I did really like it. I mostly liked it. I didn't really like it, but I liked the kind of colors. I liked the kind of idea for it. I don't know quite what it was. I think it was something about the length of the skirt or the dress kind of part or skirty bit, whatever. I kind of wanted it. I couldn't quite. It felt a bit too busy in some way.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I would disagree. I really liked the dress itself. I think the hat was hideous, but I think the dress was like pretty simplistic. Like again, it was all like the same like scale sort of thing. It was like scales, and it was all the same, and it was quite a cool cut. But it was like a really interesting sort of material, I guess. Like I think it was cool. Like it reminded me a little bit of Adore's top 3 look. It was that sort of vibe. I know I really like the dress personally. I just think the hat was hideous. But then again, she made it in like half an hour. So
again, unfortunate for a hat challenge as well.
Yeah, I know. But then she's at massive disadvantage. She didn't have the money to do someone like Aquaria's look, so it's sort of a shame.
Although then that said, I don't feel like what Aquaria had for her look was particularly expensive.
I suppose so. Also, I do think Monique is incredibly creative. But I think Aquaria has a very specific creativity. It's not about money. Her eye for fashion and her aesthetic is outstanding. People are loving, seem to be into Monique's look in the chat generally, more into her confessionals, but also into the look. So that's cool. Okay, Asia's look I absolutely loved.
I adored this.
So good. Like one of my favorite looks, like definitely one of my favorite looks of the season. But yeah, I don't know. I absolutely loved it. I think it was really clever. I think it was really pretty. Like the way she worked with the prop and everything, it was just unique. It's just I don't know. I absolutely loved it. I think it was really great.
Me too. It was one of the ones I was most excited about when I saw it on the runway. That and Aquarius. I just thought it was really funny. I liked that there was a little nod to it, there was a bit of kind of camp humor to it, but it was also stunning. Like that could have looked very cheap, because I think, as a few people have pointed out, I think it is genuinely from IKEA, and like that could have looked incredibly cheap. Yeah, but she kept it together really nicely. The little blowing of that thing was good. I mean. At first, I think part of me wanted her to be more like green, to be more like a stem. But then actually thinking about it afterwards, I was like, what she actually wore, I think, would have been better. It would have looked too corny, I think, to have had it as a stem. I think instead she had herself as like this really beautiful silhouette. And the kind of nude illusion on parts of the dress were gorgeous as well. So.
Yeah, I think it worked really well. Tu doesn't agree about the nude illusion, but I agree with you. I think it worked really, really well. I think part of it for me as well is like dandelions are just like really delicate and sort of like beautiful, like just generally anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a really cool reference. I just really like the reference. I think it's executed really, really well.
And I think, sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say as well, it's a hat challenge. And so I think out of everyone, she's probably the one who most made the whole outfit based around the hat, apart from Aquaria as well, So those two, I think, pretty much got the brief probably the most, I think, in terms of I mean, actually the vixens as well, I just don't think it was executed well, but Asia's, I think, the focal point was on that massive dandelion head, and everything else kind of then stemmed, pun intentional, from that, and I think that was great. It felt hat centered, and that was what the challenge was.
Okay, that is important. Guys, we'll get onto the vixens look in a bit, definitely. But also there's a little interlude. Cooney's asking, who do we think will go next? That's a good question.
Well, it's going to be Snatch Game next.
Is it definitely?
I think so, from what I heard somewhere.
Okay. So Monet has to kill it this episode. If not, she's gone.
Same with Miss Cracker.
But Miss Cracker's done some redeemable things.
Yeah, she wouldn't go, but she would be starting to be in danger. But yeah, I think this is where we would expect those two to shine.
100%. There's no excuse at this point. But Monet has to do well because she's got nothing else to back it up on.
I'm intrigued to see. I think Eureka will still be safe. I'm intrigued to see what she would do for Snatch Game and how well she'd do it. She didn't do it last season. Again,
but she's done well enough generally where it won't be enough to send her home if she doesn't do well.
I think Monique could be in danger.
Monique, people say Monique in the chat as well. I agree. Although she is, again, her confessionals are great. She can be really, really funny. She's not consistently funny, but if she chooses the right character, I think she'll sail through Snatch Game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't think she'll go home based on this, but I think Cameron could be in danger from this as well.
Yeah, Tu saying, sorry, Tu, am I pronouncing your name right? If there's a better way for me to pronounce it, can you write it phonetically for me, please? Aquaria, he's saying Aquaria will win Snatch Game, and I really don't think that's the case.
It'd have to be a really out of character person for Aquaria. I think it'd have to be
the only way. I've got it. The only way Aquaria can win is if she does Trixie Mattel impersonating RuPaul.
Right. Just yeah.
But then
nailed it. Aired by the time.
I know. I'm joking. She can't have done that, but that's the only thing she would kill.
That would be amazing, though.
That would be great.
I think Aquaria needs to have a fully out there one. I don't think she could do what Farrah did when Farrah did Gigi Gorgeous or whoever Farrah did. I don't think it can be someone who's a fairly small character. I think Aquaria needs to go for someone who is balls to the wall crazy. It needs to be a character who's so out there, and so dominating as a character that you have to pay attention to them. And I think if Aquaria can nail that, then she might prove me wrong. She might do really well with someone quieter, but
yeah, I'm interested to see what she's going to do. But again, my expectations aren't there for her. My expectations for Aquaria are on the runway where she belongs. But whereas the expectations are there for Monet and Cracker, like you said, they have to do well.
I mean, Violet was quite funny on her own Snatch Game. She wasn't amazing.
Was she?
Okay.
She was almost passable. I don't think she wasn't great. She was fine. Sorry, I don't understand what those lines mean. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked for you to write it like that. Cooney's right though. Tatiana did win Snatch Game, and she's not a comedy queen. I also think Tatiana is really funny on the slide though. To be fair, yeah. Hey Ward, thanks for joining us. Kurt is saying he doesn't have to play a plus size character, which is correct. Cameron, of course. Sutkin saying, I hope Cameron does Ripley from Alien, then dresses up as Alien in the second half. That'd be amazing. That'd be so.
That would be so good.
Yeah, I can see it doing a Ripley would be an awesome choice. Actually, she could be a really fun, funny character to do as well.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I really hope Cameron does something unexpected for this, and good unexpected. Yeah.
I'll tell you who else would be good based on she referenced Fifth Element in one of her interviews. It'd be Lulu from Fifth Element. That'd be really funny.
Ooh.
Do you know the character?
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I think I know what you're talking about.
You know, the girl who doesn't know English and stuff at the beginning is really shocked by everything and
right.
Remember? Oh, it could be really funny. I don't know. Maybe the reference is too niche.
I have to admit, I'm kind of gutted that Blair went before Snatch Game.
Oh, I feel like we would have. I know she would have done a Southern Belle. Right?
True, but I kind of wanted her to get a chance to do it at least.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like this. I mean, I know we can't kind of keep on being this would have been her week to shine for 8 weeks, but week 7 it would have been nice if that could have been a turning moment for her. I think. Or maybe not, probably not, but
yeah, I really think so. Sorry. So I was reading the chat as well, and Cooney's saying in the trailer, Cameron is playing China, Black China.
What?
Because I can't see that going well. And Monet is playing Maya Angelou, which I don't know. I feel like that's going to be difficult to do well, especially. I mean, I know Chi Chi, obviously didn't do well, but I think it's going to be a hard character to make funny generally. I don't know.
That could be interesting. But then Monet is ridiculously talented, so I feel like Monet would find some part of Maya Angelou to just amp up and make wild. I can imagine Monet doing really well at this. I think that's the thing. If Monet doesn't do well, Monet's out.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. But also, Kenny's saying no. China the wrestler. Do we know China the wrestler?
Oh,
how do you know?
Oh my god. That would be genius.
Who's China?
WWF way back. Well, maybe not that way back. I remember it from my childhood, but then I didn't really follow it any time after that, so I don't know how long China was around. WWF? Yeah, I watched loads of it when I was a kid.
That surprises me.
I know. All the kids were doing it at the time. But no, that would be so much fun. I would be totally up for that. I don't know how many catchphrases China would have well, she does have some, but I don't think she'd be as instantly present in a room as maybe some of the other choices.
And also, do you think the character is widely recognizable enough?
Maybe to an American audience.
Okay. Oh, Kenny's saying she's a buff female wrestler from WWF who later became a porn star. Okay, so that could be quite fun. So you can add that porn star as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That could be
because
good.
that really fits Cameron as well, being like a muscly queen.
Yeah, for sure. It's a smart choice.
That's playing to strengths. Yeah.
Cameron is
Interesting.
smarter than I give her credit for.
Yeah. That does leave the question: who would Miss Cracker do? I wonder.
I'm guessing a Jewish celebrity. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone she could like. I feel like that's her go-to. You know, I mean, like literally her review. She was called "Review of a Jew."
Yeah.
Like, and she mentions it a lot. The pickle was a Jewish pickle. Like, I think that's her go-to, and she does it very well.
Yeah.
So fair, like smart choice if she does go down that route. Should we go back to the runway?
Yes.
So okay, on that note, Cracker.
I really enjoyed the look. I don't necessarily think the hat added a great deal, but I enjoyed it as a look, as overall, as a silhouette. I thought it was beautiful. It didn't set me on fire sexually, or but it also didn't put me out.
Was the match hovering though?
The match was hovering. Yeah, I was getting ready to strike. Yeah, but
get ready to strike.
Also, after having been on fire from Aquaria and from Asia, like it didn't put me out. It didn't like take a fire extinguisher to my sexual flames. So that's a good thing. That's all you can hope. It kept the fires going. It added extra kindle.
Yeah. Okay. I can respect that.
This metaphor is getting so twisted and off. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, people of Grant's channel.
They love it. They can't get enough. So Keely's saying Amy Winehouse wig was spotted at her station.
Who? Miss Crackers?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that could be a potentially tricky choice, I would say. Okay, so in terms of the outfit of this episode, Kurt's saying love the dress, but not the hat. Two saying Cracker boot. Sutukin saying was Miss Cracker cosplaying as Blair Sinclair. That's funny.
Right. Genuinely, just before this episode, I went back to just quickly watch the fashion photo review just to remember the outfits. And I almost skipped past Blair's because I didn't notice it being different on the little thumbnail as I was like hovering over.
Yeah, that's I don't disagree. I don't think either look was particularly good. I think they could have done Southern Belle better.
Blair's was not a hat look, in my opinion.
Whose wasn't?
Blair's. I didn't think it was a hat look. Like it was just a normal Blair look with a hat that she would have normally worn.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Super obvious. Again, I think Crackers was good. I think out of the two, Crackers' dress was definitely better.
Little pink bows were nice.
But again, Crackers done so many super cool looks. Like I was just hoping for more from her. Also, she's done the hair thing before, like an episode
with the giant.
And also like she's done. We've got the Cracker hair. We've got like the hair bra and all that sort of stuff. Like we've seen it. Like hair shouldn't be your thing because it's not. You're not great.
It's a better talent than Velcro though. So
who's got Velcro?
Milk from All Stars 3.
Oh no, very true.
Touch the fashion, change your life, Grant.
What are you saying? I've already had that happen. Can't you
touch the fire, change your life, Grant?
Oh, that's your one. Okay, that's going to be our like subtitle for this episode. But yeah, I think the hair hat was a cool concept.
Yeah,
but it didn't look nice. Like it wasn't aesthetically pleasing to me.
I mean, that's a big part of what it needs to be, and I don't think it. Yeah, I feel like it would have been really fun if it had like been part of the hat and then kind of had like overflow.
Yeah.
Or something. I feel like it could be a bit more dramatic than just the hat, even though that might have thrown off the traditional look. I mean, it would have been at least a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I agree completely. I totally. Sutikins made an awesome point. He's gutted no one did a pirate hat, like a pirate look.
Oh my god,
so cool.
Yeah. Why was that not a thing?
Yeah, that's a great.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been so cool. Oh,
it's like someone dragging like a Willem boat, being like, "My boat is so pretty," and just like
maybe not. I would take away from it. I want like a super cool like pirate, sexy pirate,
like a sexy pirate. Yeah.
On the run. Kurt saying, "I love Blair's look, legs for days." I think you're in the minority. Oh no,
I like the look, just not as a hat look.
Okay, can you say love Blair, but I agree it's a predictable look. Not bad look, just not surprising. Okay.
Yeah.
Seafoam, I said to go by English name Costir. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll stick with Cos then. I'll go back to Cos. Okay. Right, so back to Rum. I forgot what I was doing for a second now.
So just the Vixen left.
Vixen. Okay, I feel like I'm not going to be happy with what you're going to say, so you can go first. So
I liked the concept, but I thought it was really poorly done. Because I like part
of it.
I
thought you liked it earlier.
Although parts of it I liked. It's just like I feel like I almost wanted just one angle of her where you couldn't see like the bra and like the other stuff. Because like when you had this like kind of view with just the hats tumbling down, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is great. Like a really clever way of doing it. Make the whole thing out of hats. Great. And then when she turned around certain parts, I'm like, oh, now you've just got parts that are clearly not hats and just don't really fit with everything else that's kind of been made. I almost wanted it to be like an even bigger like set of hats that kind of made almost more of like a billowing dress or something.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing was almost a hat, or like as opposed to this weird like slidey thing that kind of finished a bit too soon for me. And then like I don't know, it's weird because obviously it's difficult for them with padding and then trying to give the illusion of like having like a bare behind. But then I a few times with other queens as well, it's just that really horrible, just like one black line down their arse crack that's meant to be like I'm wearing some kind of thong, which doesn't look like I don't know, just yeah.
I think it's very similar to what I said about Cracker's hat, and they're like, I think it's a cool concept, but it just didn't look aesthetically pleasing to me. I don't think it was even. I agree, it wasn't executed particularly well, but I think even if it was executed better, I still wouldn't have particularly liked it. I just don't think the hat is not a nice hat. Like it wasn't a nice shaped dress. Like I think just the concept was cool in using the hat for the entire outfit. I loved that idea. But I just think it was the wrong hat choice and the wrong shape / style of outfit, personally.
Right. I think, I agree. I think it kind of, for me, it kind of stopped too short as well. It kind of gave this. I think if you're going to do like a mini skirt thing, I'd have loved to have seen it like literally wrap around, even if it was just like a weird spiral, you know, not all fabric done. So you kind of had like nude illusion and then like a hat kind of winding around it. Like that, I mean, I'm no costumier, but I feel like that might have had a better chance of giving some kind of interesting thing or like something. I don't know. I was a bit underwhelmed by it, and I've loved her other looks. That's the thing, like the peacock one, that fire one, like the kind of see-through one with the fan. I've loved those.
And she's been super hit and miss for me. She's been super hit and miss.
I was just super disappointed by this one.
She's been like Serena Cha-Cha at times for me, and this was like a Serena Cha-Cha moment.
Oh, poor Serena Cha-Cha.
Ooh, that's harsh.
Oh no, not as in not being compared to Vixen, just poor her generally for like.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like yeah. Well, I think she's doing better these days. C.U.N.T saying that Vixen looked horrible, and Cooney is saying same here, good concept, but bad mediocre execution. But it was a good wig. Cause is booting the Vixen. Suikin is saying Vixen shoot. Oh no, in the head. No, that's too far. Kurt is saying no. Kurt is saying
I also just honestly, not to just keep on ranting about the Vixen. I also just don't like how that thing moved, because I feel like when it moved, it kind of like flapped a little bit, like it was clear that it was a very light kind of paper-like material.
That's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't like a good hat to like base an outfit around, in my opinion.
I think it's interesting because do you know so season 6 when Ben had when the first time she lip synced against Darien Lake and she had that like black and white thing, I feel like that kind of silhouette is kind of what I would have loved to have seen the Vixen in, but with like more hat like. I don't know.
So let's go on to the judges' critiques. One thing I thought was interesting is this late in the competition, they were still judged as groups.
Sorry, I was just drinking tea. I was a bit surprised by that, especially because they've had a couple of group challenges where they've been like, and now we're going to judge you individually. And it was a bit weird to be like, like there are only 9 of them, and we're kind of being like, no, you all win. You are all safe.
But also I feel like, I mean, I suppose they all should have won or been safe or whatever, but like I suppose it may need one good person, very strong person on their team to carry them. Like I wonder how well the other team would have done without Eureka, for example.
But then again, that's true actually. That said, though, I think even if they judged them individually, there wouldn't have been that much movement.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I don't disagree. But one thing I do disagree with is on the group with Monique, Asia, and Aquaria. Asia was congratulated, but not Monique.
I didn't pick up on that, but yeah.
I think if anyone should have been congratulated on the group, it should have been Monique. I think Monique easily performed the best from what we saw out of that group.
That group could have really suffered energy-wise, and I think Monique was the reason it didn't. They didn't go under, energy-wise.
Totally, that's what I mean. I think So I thought that was a bit surprising. I think Asia did fine, but but should we talk about like the bombshell episode, Blair's?
Gosh, yeah, which just came out of nowhere and was incredibly heartfelt and beautiful. Like,
yes, I agree with that part, but like the fact that it came out of nowhere to me felt kind of gross. Not from her part, but in terms of I feel like the producers pushed her to say it because there was a high chance, or she was guaranteed, they even knew she was going home, or they thought that she could go home. So I think they pushed her to say it there and then because it felt so out of place to me.
But yeah, it was odd because she mentioned it in Untucked as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. But either way, yeah, I mean, kudos to her for sharing that. That cannot have been an easy thing to share at all. And she did it with such grace and such dignity that I think that was, and I think it was so sweet to see obviously the other queens supporting it. I loved the Vixen's bit about like, tell me who it is and I'm going to go and like,
same.
Yeah, that was actually quite adorable.
It was.
As threatening people with violent goes, that was actually adorable. But yeah, I think that's the nice thing. Like, it's even though obviously they're in a competition with each other, like it's nice to kind of be reminded of that kind of humanity. Of like a lot of them have been through shit together, and for me, it kind of not necessarily explained a lot of things about Blair, but it kind of a few things kind of clicked into place. Why there's this kind of overwhelming positivity coming from her. And it seems to be really to counteract that kind of darkness that she feels.
But I mean, because of that, she's sort of stuck in the box in a way, isn't she?
I think she has been. It's going to be interesting to see what she does over the next couple of years, actually, because I think she might be one who just completely like comes out with like some amazing stuff. Because I think she's definitely got the potential. She's like 22, 23. She's ridiculously talented.
Yeah, but that's the thing as well. So she said it happened at college. And if she's only 22, 23, then it wouldn't have been that long ago.
God, I didn't put two and two together like that. Yeah, gosh, that must have been really recent.
Yeah. So again, I feel like it's sort of what I've been feeling about her generally. I said in previous streams, and especially this episode, is that she just needs more time to like find herself and become more settled with herself, I think, to really shine in this art form. I think she's shown us a lot of talent so far, but there's obviously a lot more she can bring. And like you said, I'm excited to see her work through stuff and become more comfortable with herself and what's happened and whatever it is, and really flourish. I think she can be, amazing for sure.
I agree. Hopefully we will see more of her. That's kind of why personally I was like, not All Stars 4. I wanted her to go on All Stars 4, but I was imagining All Stars 4 would be in like 2 years. So like,
So I think exactly. A couple of years time, I think she could do really, really well. I agree. But she's a sweetheart, and I agree. It was brave of her to share her story, even if it was pushed by producers. And I think because the main thing that I'm always impressed with when the queens do this sort of thing is, as a chance, it will not a chance. I'm sure it will help people out there who can relate to her, or whatever the situation is. I think it's quite a selfless thing to do, and I really respect that. So,
and it's something that's not really spoken about much at all. Like, I think, there's a lot of research that's pointed to the fact that often male survivors of rape or of sexual assault or abuse find it incredibly difficult to talk because of a kind of double bind of kind of the perceived need to still seem strong or seem manly or whatever, and the kind of shame that can come with that, not only in a in a sense of maleness or masculinity or whatever, but also kind of how that interacts with their homosexuality. And I think it's an incredibly vital conversation to be had as well. So kudos to her.
Yeah, it's sort of a shame that it was. I really feel like it was pushed out by the producers, and because of that, we're not going to get a proper discussion of development in regards to it, because she's gone now. So
true,
it's an important conversation, but it's not one we're going to get to have. So
true. Although I feel like she'll probably now be interviewed quite extensively about it, which would be good because she'll probably have the chance to really write things in her own words. So instead of having a couple of bits on TV now, I think she'll be able to do full interviews about it, or write full articles about it. Yeah,
the actual show itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but so one thing I wrote down at the time, which is a bit cynical, and some said it in chat as well, is that they can't really send her home after this.
I was wondering that. I kind of like after, because I mean, obviously it's not directly comparable, but there was the whole Roxy bus stop thing just as she was about to get eliminated, and she stayed. I mean, she did also do incredibly well in that lip sync. It wasn't like she, so that I actually did expect a double Shantae. I've been expecting a double Shantae for quite a while actually this season.
So did I. Yeah.
I thought that would have been a nice little touch to be like, you're here, you're loved, you're still in the race, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Although I sort of respect the show, because I mean she was the obvious loser of the lip sync, and obviously she was the right person to go. So I think it's good that because again, I don't like things being done out of pity. Like it felt a bit like cold to chuck her off after her opening up and her story and everything, but at the same time, she wouldn't have stayed. She didn't deserve to stay out of the two of them.
I agree.
To stay generally, like even if it was a double Shantae, I don't think it would have been right. She's obviously not going to win this competition. She's not ready yet. She hasn't, like I said, in my opinion, she hasn't, developed enough as a person or in drag to win yet.
Yeah, that's fair, I think.
So it wouldn't have been the right decision, in my opinion. Sorry, Cos just referenced Roxy Andrews' verse in Read Your Roadshow. So yeah, I mean, do you have any other thoughts on the lip sync?
It was fun to find. I mean, it was fun to finally see the Vixen lip sync, because I feel like a lot has been said about her being a potential assassin. So, and I think we only really saw her like getting up to about 30% in this. I feel like there's probably a lot.
I've got that impression as well.
Yeah, like if her life was on the line, like she would turn it completely out.
Yeah. Although I feel like Blair did great in the last like 1/3 roughly of the song.
Yeah, she took a little bit of time to warm up, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Vixen was kind of consistently good.
Exactly, I agree completely. Anything to say about Untucked?
I can't even say I remember all that much of it. I have to admit.
Nothing really happened, in my opinion, guys. If we're missing anything, let us know. The only thing I wrote down is that the Vixen was very confident she was miles ahead of her team.
Yeah, that was a good point. Which is that, it's definitely like Miss Cracker and Thank You for the Bot, which is kind of fun, like because obviously we've already seen the episode by that point. So being like, okay, well, you've got something coming. But I mean, and you kind of saw it, because when she was told that she was in the bottom two, there was a genuine look of surprise on her face.
It sort of surprised me a bit though, because she like I said, like she has angered me too far. She has frustrated me extensively this season, and stuff like that. But I do think she is a smart person. And for her, I was quite surprised by her delusion with the situation. But maybe again, I need to go back and watch the judges' critiques, but maybe just the critiques weren't that bad towards her. I don't know.
I think, because I think she came in and they said, because what she told the other queens was something like, oh, they loved my performance. Oh no, I've forgotten which. It was either they said that they loved her performance, I loved her outfit. I can't remember which one they said, but she kind of like zoned in on that straight away, like, oh yeah, they said this, but they said they like this, and the other thing was all right. I'm definitely safe. And you're like, okay. So it's interesting, like either the judges perhaps didn't say enough, or perhaps that wasn't necessarily picked up by her when she was there, or maybe it's all kind of like a bluster to kind of get through the next, get through it and not completely crumble.
Yeah. Oh, that's one good thing to talk about. So, who brought it up? C.U.N.T and Kurt as well. Monique talking about the whole pray the gay away thing. That was pretty heartbreaking.
This season, in terms of people's stories, God, man, right? Like Dusty's thing, like, God.
It seems shocking to me. Like 10 years ago, again, because I mean, England is a very liberal country generally, I'd say. But I thought, again, because we're not in America, we're not exposed to like all we see is American TV. And again, like I'm just so shocked that it's like how so two of the 10 queens here have had similar sort of super Christian, like gay being evil type of stories. And it just shocks me that in 2018 or a few years ago, whenever they came out, like this sort of thing is still going on. It just seems crazy to me.
It is, and I mean, it's still, there are still some states where it's legal, and they are constantly fighting either to make it illegal, or some states where they're trying to turn it back and get it legal again. Which is, it's I think it's also terrifying because we always tend to see these types of rights as being it kind of happens in quite a linear way, right? That you kind of gain more rights and then you gain even more rights. And you kind of forget that they can go backwards, or that there are some things that have not moved on, or not perhaps changed as quickly as some of the other things. And so it's kind of baffling, isn't it, that like after the Supreme Court decision, gay marriage became legal across the country, but then you could also still be sent to a pray the gay away camp. Like
exactly.
That's quite jarring. Yeah. So. But it's interesting, and I mean, again, kudos to Monique for sharing her story with that, because again, that is another conversation that needs to be had. I think, particularly with how she talks about with religion and how those things intersect, because she does talk about herself still being religious, and so it's interesting that how she feels about her faith. Given that people try to use her faith as a weapon against her, as to divide parts of herself. So again, like an incredibly vital conversation that needs to be had. And I think, you're right. As a British viewer, that feels quite weird, because we almost feel like that's a conversation we don't necessarily need to have, because it doesn't really happen that often, at least that I'm aware of.
Of course, but also the fact that it's still, because again, we're not exposed. Sorry, before I continue, Cos, tell us a little bit about that. Because we watch a lot of American I watch a lot of American TV. I think most of us do, and we're not exposed to any of this sort of stuff. Like obviously, it just seems, I don't know, it just seems strange that it's still happening this day and age. I agree with Kurt. Like I think we're lucky to be living in England.
All right, yeah.
We should sort of be grateful for that, I guess. But what Cos said, and hopefully he'll talk a little bit about, he said in his country we're told to take testosterone shots. Which is mental. I mean, obviously, gender and sexuality, like that's a gender thing. That's not a sexuality thing. So that doesn't even make any sense whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, there's a definite underlying assumption that like homosexuality is caused by an imbalance of the hormones there, right? It's like as in lesbians just have too much of that testosterone. They need a good bit of estrogen to sort them out, which is, it's completely not, like, if anything, it would just make people incredibly hormonally imbalanced while still being gay and experiencing. That's an awful thing. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's
so am I. So is that Greece, Cos? What country is that, just out of interest? And actually, so I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit to, we always recommend like something we've seen over the last week, or whatever that we would want to recommend people. So actually today, I had a really good conversation with a good friend of mine just before the stream, and there's a really good video. I forgot who the person is. Actually, I linked it when I was setting up the stream when I got home. A really good video about gender. It's only 3 minutes long. It's like a poem with like visuals, and it's just really interesting. It sort of like sums up my views on gender and sort of society sort of thing. Like everything that's been ingrained perfectly. Like it's super interesting. So I think check that out. I definitely highly recommend you guys check that out. So Suki saying, Amane still can't tell her parents So talent has been hidden. Yeah, that's another really good point.
Good point.
And Greece, yeah, it is Greece, of course. I thought so.
Gosh, I didn't realise that.
No, neither did I. I had no idea. Okay. I like Suikin's little summary. I'll read it out in a second. Okay. So should we talk about our C.U.N.Ts unabashedly?
Yes. I feel like for me, charisma has to go to Monique. Because I feel like personally, like her charisma was what carried a large part of what happened with that team, and I think just really well done. I think that was a really nice side to see of us, because we've seen that kind of in the workroom, but we haven't necessarily seen it always in the challenges. So
mine's to Eureka for the reasons we said earlier. Yep, I think she was extremely charismatic. She was like, just I don't need to really go into detail. She just objectively was. And guys, I'll tell you in a second, Kurt. You tell us your C.U.N.Ts as well as we go along. And also, if you're not watching live, just tell us in the comments down below. Obviously, read all the comments, get fully involved, carry on that conversation, girl. Kurt's got a question for you, Bob. Can I ask, why is it Floppy Bob?
Well, I feel like you said something at one point, Grant, like ages ago.
You started
totally you. Because either way, one of us said something and then you like jumped on it and made it Floppy Bob. And then now it feels like I don't know. Now it sounds like I'm a walking poster for erectile dysfunction. I love it. Which I feel like I've been slandered. But like now I'm kind of actively part of it. I'm like, I am Floppy Bob. I'm like, well, this is great now, isn't it?
Every day you love it. Come on.
And on fire. It's a good compliment.
Also, I feel like Cos's response, he said, so I should have said it before asking you. So Kate said, can I ask, why is it Floppy Bob? And Cos said, I think it's apparent, isn't it? Right? Cos knows. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. I feel so honoured and also very attacked right now.
He's like, get no branding in, girl. Like, getting t-shirts on the go, you know?
What, like, my branding is just going to be... What is it going to be? Like, am I going to have my own branded, like, anti-Viagra? Like,
anti-Viagra. Yes. But you do your intro. You even flop around in your intro. Like, you've got fully into the fantasy.
It does fit the fact that when I move, for the most part, I'm kind of like a bit kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if it's enough to warrant me branding my whole self around my floppiness. But,
we've been doing it for like 10 weeks now. You can't like suddenly change your whole branding now.
I think that the crunch moment was the first time I kind of bought into it and was like, yes, my name is Floppy Bob. And as a result, there's been no looking back ever since.
Exactly.
I feel like the decision was made there and then. I've sealed my fate.
That's it. Embrace it.
Unfortunately, I'll embrace my floppiness.
Thank you. That's all we ask. Okay, so sorry, you.
I'm going to go with Aquaria.
For her look?
Yes, just for the look, I think. Because I think, that sits better in terms of the placing of where I put the other queens. I think, look at me flopping about. But no, I definitely say Aquaria, because I think that was as well the cleverest. Or at least one of the cleverest plays on the theme.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's extremely intelligent. I'm going to go for Asia though, because we sort of expect Aquaria to think out of the box and be creative. I know Asia is creative as well, but her looks have been very hit and miss. Whereas this absolutely knocked it out of the park for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, I'm tempted to switch. Actually, that's a really good justification.
It's just totally unique. Again, like I would never ever in a million years have associated a dandelion with a hat look. You know?
Yeah, or an IKEA lamp with a hat look. No, I'm tempted to switch mine to that as well.
Nope, you've made your bed. So Suikin is saying charisma Monique and uniqueness Aquaria, and Cos is giving uniqueness to Aquaria as well. And everyone keeps asking how did Asia pack that dress, that hat in. I know, I agree.
That's a very good question.
It does fold. Yeah.
It's flat pack.
And what? Suikin, I don't get your nursing Sammy Bob during Snatch Game comment. So what's after uniqueness?
Because it wasn't it last week where you said something about me nursing a semi during Snatch Game?
Did I?
I think you did, or some. I feel like you said that, or at some point, because I think I kept on banging on about how much I love Snatch Game. And someone, maybe it was in the comments, maybe it was you, I can't remember, mentioned about me having a semi for Snatch Game, which is just a constant state of being, really. Let's be honest. On fire.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, before we miss it, I missed it already.
Nope, it's gone forever.
Sutikin, no, I've missed your summary of our episode. I'm sorry. Can you copy and paste it, please? Sutikin saying it was him about nursing semi as well.
Oh, okay, there you go.
No,
getting quite a reputation.
Nerve.
Nerve, I will go for Blair, as in the positive.
Okay. I'm like the nerve of her telling her rape story on national TV. Who do you think she is? Yeah.
But no, I don't know how she held it together on stage. Because I think, especially, she said, I think it was the first time she'd really said it out loud, or one of the first times. And I mean,
before she told us she'd been taken advantage of, it was the first time she'd used the word rape.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, to stand on the stage and be able to be that open, knowing that millions of people will see it, takes an incredible amount of courage that I don't think I'll ever have.
I can't. I can't give anyone else nerve after that. I completely agree with you. So talent.
I will then give it to Asia, because I was thinking about it. I was going to switch that round, but talent makes complete sense with Asia, I think, as well. Then I'll go for that look and just generally being, somewhat decent in the challenge as well.
Okay, yeah, okay. And I totally agree with Kurt. Talent for Monique for making an outfit in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sukin saying Nerve Cameron. She got a full view of the victory's crotch. Yeah. Bryce's crotch. Bryce was great. Bryce was really funny. Okay. So Sukin's summary of our stream this week is: this week Floppy Bob is trying to get off with fire, and Grant is sick of Cameron's fanboys. Yeah, that's
accurate. I love these summaries.
I should add them to the description of the video.
Please.
I should do, but I need to go back and watch all the other ones, which I'm not going to do. So if you want to send it to me, I'll do it. And Cos is giving tea to Eureka. Yep, that's evident.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that's a strong choice.
I kind of feel bad for having missed her out now.
No, you hate her, so you just
Well, I don't hate her. It's just I'm not fan numero uno.
Okay.
With my amazing Spanish accent.
That's great.
Pedro Chips is got proper British person on holiday.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
On that note.
No, exactly. I thought I was going somewhere, but never mind.
It never is. It never is. Don't worry.
Okay. So I've already said earlier on what I would recommend to the children. Is there anything that's happened over the last week that you'd like to share with us?
Apart from recommending Fire Sex, I would obviously Janelle Monáe, who I love anyway.
A new song. What's it called? Like This?
Yeah. But she what is that song called? Either way, she's released the album, and she's also released a visual, what she's called an emotion picture, which is about 50 minutes long, thereabouts, which kind of weaves together a few of the songs and the general concept of the album. But I think, even though I'm not in love with every single song on the album, overall I think it's incredibly strong. But the visual aspect of it is beautiful. It does this. It really weaves in this idea of outcasts of society being dirty computers that kind of need to be cleaned by society, and it's fascinating. And I think it's a really fun and clever take on kind of notions of diversity, of kind of the future, and of kind of identity politics within that. Really, really cleverly done.
Is the music actually any good?
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's about 50 minutes. I actually got quite emotional at the end.
Is there certain? Will you say it's important to watch the whole thing together? Do you think there's a certain song you recommend people listen to?
I think as a whole it fits together quite well because it has a strong narrative that runs through. But like as an album itself, I think it just, I mean, the album has a few like really fun singles and stuff that are really great to listen to. But as a thematic piece, it's it's really cleverly done.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Drop me a link and I'll put it in the description.
Sure thing.
Cool. Okay. I think that's everything, team. I feel like that's another episode debrief to fuck, and I feel like we've all done a very good job and should be proud of ourselves.
We really should.
Yeah.
Go us.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. As always, team. Continue the conversation in the comments down below. Join us next week. If you haven't subscribed, why not do that? Could be fun. Also, drop a like. What else do people tell? What else should I tell people to do?
I mean, is this like the after dark version or like?
Yeah, send me pictures. Thanks. Love you. Bye. Sorry. You haven't seen my first Sabrina the Teenage Witch video, check that bad girl out because I'm currently working on number 2. I might edit it now if I can be bothered. I recorded the footage for it. I think it's going to be an almost passable watching experience. So that's something to stay alive for. Share. That's a good. Thanks, Bob, for your support. That's right, Suikin. Share the video as well. If you see someone who would like something shared with them, make it this video. Is that another outro nailed?
I think. I mean, how could that not be nailed? That was genius.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, Suikin, you like the Sabrina stuff? Thanks. I've actually put effort into that one. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Love you too. Bye.